traumatic as any experience their husbands might have had at the front. Interestingly, very few of the men and women who told their stories were specific about what first attracted them to the person they fell in love with. To some degree, that may be due to a generational sense of propriety. Obviously, a fervent sexual attraction between two young people must have played a large role in the initial stages of a soon-to-be serious relationship, but nobody ever mentioned that directly. The men and women of the World War II generation still tend to believe that subtlety is worth something. Perhaps they're just true romantics in a way that is rapidly disappearing. If you ask what they think of today's movies, many of them will insist that the slightly hidden is a lot sexier than the flagrant. But perhaps it's not that they find such candor shocking, it's just that the partially veiled leaves so much, as one woman said, to our own private dirty mind, which is much more fun. Although these stories are told in the third person, every effort has been made to capture the voice of each teller. People were not pressed for information they did not want to give. These are their stories, and in the fullest sense, this is their book. Each description of a romantic encounter contributes something special to the whole mosaic, illuminating and enlarging a broader picture of love in a time of war. Because our cast of characters comes from such diverse backgrounds, and they all had such a tremendous variety of experiences during the war, we are able to see a unique period in our history from many different points of view. Though each of these stories is unique, both in circumstances and appeal, many of them reflect experiences that form common threads in the larger tapestry of World War II life. Again and again we hear about the difficulty of getting from here to there during the war years, not just overseas, but right here at home. Those of us who fly a lot in this jet age and complain endlessly about delayed flights, lousy food, and misplaced luggage are likely to feel a little sheepish after hearing these stories. Buses, trains, planes, no matter what the mode of transportation, everyone knew there would be a problem, more likely lots of problems. Too busy making jeeps and trucks for the battlefields, Detroit had stopped making new cars. Gas was rationed, of course. You'll be hearing a lot about getting enough of it in the tank to make it through a single date, let alone connect with a loved one any distance away. Despite all the problems, luck sometimes broke the soldier's way. Luck. A great many of the men and women whose stories you'll hear can still scarcely believe how lucky they were. More than one man was dismissed at the last minute from a mission on which the plane went down, killing everyone aboard. Some who did board planes that crashed ended up in the hospital for months, which would ordinarily be bad luck, except that while they were lying in bed, they first heard a nurse's voice that they would end up hearing for the rest of their lives. Inevitably, there was horribly bad luck as well. 50 million people died in the course of World War II, millions of civilians as well as soldiers. Many survived with injuries that changed everything, including the outcome of their love stories. Not every story here has a happy ending in the usual sense. Still, you'll see that some things are worth having even for a very short time. And sometimes what existed at a time way in the past remains so strong that years, even decades later, it became necessary for those involved to seek out the love that was lost and try to make a new and different ending. One of the more pleasant consequences of World War II is the fact that women from all over the world found soulmates in American men whom they might never have encountered had it not been for the war. Many international couples took enormous risks to remain together. Some parents of young women from other countries encouraged their daughters to follow their heart and embark on the highly uncertain adventure of moving to America and another way of life. Other women had to overcome tremendous parental misgivings, or even sacrifice a parental relationship altogether. The girls back home, and many of them were hardly more than that, even if they did have a newborn infant to care for, sent letters off into the unknown to somewhere in Europe and somewhere in the Pacific. They would receive letters back with blacked-out portions or even holes cut out to remove words that might threaten security. A great many of the women worried that their trivial day-to-day activities would bore their husbands and boyfriends in the midst of battle. Little did they realize they were a lifeline, helping to nourish the mind and soul of their loved ones. Some women served away from home in the military.